Mo kí gbogbo ilé ní orúkọ Olódùmarè. Mo kí yín níbikíbi tẹ́ ti ń gbọ́ mi ní àṣálẹ́ yìí o. Ṣé lọ́sàn-án lẹ wà níbi tẹ́ wà ní àbí alẹ́? Gbà díẹ̀díẹ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ tá a bá ń sọ. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọdé, mo kí gbogbo àwọn àgbàlagbà. Mo kí gbogbo ọkùnrin, mo kí gbogbo obìnrin. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ ilẹ̀ Òtúfẹ̀ níbikíbi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ mi. Etí tí ẹ fi ń gbọ́ mi ò ní di. Ojú tẹ́ fi ń wo screen yìí náà kò dẹ̀ ní fọ́. Níbikíbi tí ẹ bá wà, gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe fẹ́ ìrànlẹ̀ Yorùbá, mo gbà á mo súre wípé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kò ní di ìtàn. Gbogbo àwọn tó gbéra kó tó kóra wọn jọ wípé wọ́n sọ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá di ilẹ̀ onílẹ̀. Lágbára Olódùmarè, ilẹ̀ tiwọn ni ó di ilẹ̀ onílẹ̀. I greet everybody in the name of Olódùmarè. I greet the host. Thank you so much, our manager Aja. We are so grateful. And please, Ibidu, please kindly come up and help us in co-hosting today. We'll be very, very happy. You are one of our hosts. Hopefully, the other hosts will also come up and also join us. Today is another beautiful day. Today, it's another wonderful day. Today is the voice of liberation. I know one day, 200 years from now, the Yoruba youth, Yoruba people that will be alive then, they will listen to my voice and they will listen to the voice of reasoning. They will listen to the voice of wisdom. I hope this voice, if you are hearing me in the next 100 years and 200 years, will guide you through the dark paths and make you understand the reason why you must do everything doable. You must do everything under the sun to protect Yoruba land. I hope you are going to do everything possible to ensure that Yoruba land does not become no man's land. Brothers and sisters, Nigeria is not a nation, it is a country of nations. Every ethnicities in Nigeria have their own agenda. Every ethnicities in Nigeria have their own vision. There's no Nigerian vision. The Nigerian vision is beyond the price of food, the price of gari. The Nigerian vision is beyond the ephemeral and the materialistic things. People have grand ambitions in this country. And that is one of the reasons why history was taken away from the curriculum in Nigeria in order to create a generation that will be easy cannon folders of conquests and tools to be used to create a melting pot Nigeria that will lead to the destruction of the civilization of Yoruba people. There are three trinities of civilization. There are three trinities of civilization. There are those who build civilization, there are those who nurture civilization, and there are those who protect, who destroy civilization. Those are the trinities of every civilization. Those are the trinities. Yoruba pa òwe wípé àrò mẹ́ta ni ó ń dá ọbẹ̀ nù. So even in Yoruba parlance, this ideology exists, this reality exists. The question I want to ask you today, brothers and sisters, are you going to be part of those that will protect Yoruba civilization or those that will destroy Yoruba civilization? The world has changed. The world has become multipolar. The survival of the fittest has started. The world has changed. And I'm going to try as much as possible to narrate the history of the world in order before coming down into the topic. The topic today says land, politics, war, and power. Land, politics, war, and power. self-preservation, we are going to be using examples of the Maoris and the Igbos as a case study. We are going to be using these two groups because if the Maoris are too far in New Zealand, we know the Igbos are very, very close to us. You need to understand how they operate, how they think, why they do, what they are doing. The reality of Nigeria is, and I'm going to say this without any fear, the intellectual class that was supposed to protect Yoruba land has been poached in the First Republic. They were thrown into prison. Some of them were assassinated during Operation Wettier. During the Second Republic, a lot of them were jailed by Buhari. In the Third Republic, countless numbers of them were murdered in cold blood by General Sani Abacha. And between 1999 and 2007, the PDP government under Chief Olusegun Obasanjo destroyed the entire Awois class. And the only remaining structure that remained is the current structure president of Nigeria, which is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some of us are ideologically driven when we take some of our political and ideological stands. But because the politics of Nigeria, the politics of Yoruba land is no longer ideological driven, the standard has fallen. We are no longer we no longer practice politics of doctrine, but politics of stomach infrastructure. It has destroyed our youth. It has devalued our women. It has made our elders collaborators to this insult and continuous denigration of the Yoruba people. It has made race and groups that dare not tie the laces and shoes of the Yoruba race 200, 300 years ago to think we must bow down and even vacate our homeland for them. We need to understand what Nigeria is. And we are going to understand what Nigeria is tonight. Nigeria is a country. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic country. Nigeria is like European Union. The Germany for Germans, England for the English, Wales for Welsh, France for the French, Holland for the Dutch, Italy for the Italians. This is what Nigeria is. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic country. There is nothing like, oh, we are all together. Oh, well, my brother, my sisters. These people who say this, they belong to two categories. It's either they are ignorant or it's either they are mischievous. Now, the Yoruba youth largely are ignorant because if they know what is about to happen to them, because by the time they realize it might be too late, and many of them will be carrying guns, and they will now be fighting like Hamas and the Palestinians to fight for their land. By that time, these people will be tagging them by God. Look at the way they turned Ruben Abati for speaking his mind. This is the sentiment many Igbos echo every month, every market day on the social media, on the print media. We know how secure land to them. But look at how they are saying he must bow down. He's a by God. He said this, he said that. These are people without power. They do not have economic power. They do not have political power. They have zero power within Nigeria. Yet, they feel so entitled that everybody must be beneath them because they have a divine mandate. Because that was what Zik started. Nnamdi Azikiwe started this madness. He created this madness for them. He turned them into these monsters. That is why they are not wanted in the north. They dare not try this rubbish in the south. These are people that live 10, 20 minutes to them. They dare not try this rubbish even in the north central, the middle belt. But the only place where they've seen as a fertile ground to continue this diabolical and satanic agenda that destroyed Nigeria in the First Republic is Yoruba land. And we're going to talk about it today without any fear of favor. Coward dies many times before their death, but the valiant will taste death but once. Because our people are seriously under a spell. Yoruba people are seriously under a form of hypnosis. Many of the people who call themselves even conservatives don't even understand what conservatism is all about. And the Yoruba identity is the identity you can easily use to destroy, to infiltrate, and to perpetrate evil in the name of one Nigeria. I'm sorry to say this, I'm saying this, we are the weakest link out of the Wasobia. And that is why we need to fortify ourselves, so that when the repeat of 1966 happens, we are not going to be sitting ducks and other people will be running an agenda against us. I know some of you are listening to me today, and a lot of you are going to say, oh, this man is just talking too much. Everything I've said, everything I've predicted for the past 6, 7, 8 years has come to pass one after the other. Those who said we are alarmists are currently agreeing with everything we said. And when some of us were raising alarm 15 years ago, 12 years ago, trying to engage the governors, especially in Lagos, now this, apart from Lagos, there is a problem brewing in Ogun State too, because we are not paying attention. When you listen to spaces, lectures like this, you don't need us to cut it, share with your friends, engage your colleagues, engage your friends. Don't wait for me, don't wait for us. Take this message to the grassroots. Yoruba Obas must stop selling lands to your Igbos, to be specific. Stop selling your lands. Stop selling your lands. There is something called leasing. It is acceptable under Nigerian law. You can lease that land for 40 years. If you are under any economic pressure and you want to sell to a fellow Yoruba man. Sell to a fellow Yoruba man. And if you are under any economic duress and you don't have somebody to sell to, lease it for 20 years. Lease it for 30 years. So that when your generation, your coming generation comes, they're not going to be landless. A people without land is a conquered people. A people without land is a conquered race. A people without land is a destroyed people. Without land, let me tell you, without land, you are nobody. Who is a Yoruba man? Who are the Yoruba people? If you don't have land, there is no Yoruba ethnicity. Your ancestry, your identity is intertwined with your ancestral land. Your ancestral land is not what you share in the name of religion with anybody in the name of, oh, it's my fellow Muslim, so you are going to be sharing land with them. No. It's my fellow Christian, you are going to be sharing land with them. No. It is because you have Yoruba land. That is why you have political power. Now, you need to have a land before you can have an heritage. You need to have a land before you can have a place you call your home. No matter where you are all over the world, people will ask you, where are you from? Where is your ancestry? Even the Yorubas of Brazil understand that they still belong to the Yoruba land of Nigeria. The Yorubas of Cuba understand that they still belong to the Yorubas of Cuba. Why those people in millions of our Yorubas all across these places understand that they one day they will come back home to their land of their ancestors. Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, a day will come, maybe in this generation or the generation to come or the upcoming generation or the coming generation, the Yorubas of Cuba, the Yorubas of Brazil, the Yorubas of Guyana, the Yorubas of Trinidad and Tobago, they are coming back home. And no force on earth will stop them. The people they took away from Yoruba land for 300, 400 years, they refused to forgive and leave their identity. More than 300 ethnic nations from Southern Africa, Central Africa, and West Africa were taken in the transatlantic slave trade into the Americas, North America, the Caribbean, and South America. The only people that did not dissolve, the only people that did not melt their identity, the only people that did not forget Ile-Ife, their source, the only people that endured slavery, persecution, torture, cannibalism, dismemberment, they endured poverty, to say, I am proudly Yoruba. They endured chains. They endured rape. They endured bloodletting to be able to keep that identity. You think they are never going to come back home? They are coming back home. So the job of people like us is to keep that home intact, so that barbarians will not come around and be making sure and be moving shoulder to shoulder to contend our land with us. Brothers and sisters, without land, you are nobody. Land is the most important factor of production. Every conflict on earth, you are fighting because of land. Every war on earth, you are fighting because of land. I'm going to start telling you the different wars currently happening in the world. And everybody is fighting because of land. Everybody is fighting because of land. No matter the disputes, no matter the conflict, no matter the conflagration, every fight because of land. You are fighting because of land. Land is the most important thing. And let me tell you something. According to Yoruba ancestry, according to Yoruba history, according to Yoruba cosmology, according to Yoruba cosmology, land is a deity. Land is a deity. Land is a deity. The Yoruba people worship land. That's why before they drink beer, before they drink their aromatic shina or drink palm wine, they will pour some libation on the ground in order to pay homage to the land. Because without land, everything comes from the land. And to land, we are going to return. Everything comes from the land. And from land, you have to return. God, I know many of you believe in God. You believe in Olodumare, you believe in Almighty Allah. But let me tell you something. Almighty Allah has created lands for every race on earth. He has done that job. He has created that land for you. He has said to the Jew, to the Scots, this is your land. To the Irish, this is your land. To the Arabs, this is your land. And to the Hausas, this is your land. To the Igbos, this is your land. To the Yoruba, this is your land. Even those that are practicing globalization, when they talk about globalization, nobody jokes with their indigenous land except these recalcitrant Yoruba people. The only people who joke with their lands, who want to go extinct as a race, is the Yoruba people. The only people who sit comfortably and listen to sons of perdition, tell them that their land is no man's land, are the Yoruba people. Because we are spiritually conquered. We are spiritually docile. We are spiritually naive. They've hypnotized us. We have been castrated. They've used all sorts of social engineering because the best of us has been assassinated. The best of us have been chased into persecution. The best of us has been taken into slavery in the transatlantic slave trade. This is why there's a leadership problem in Yoruba land. There's a leadership problem in Yoruba land. Even though Chief Obafemi Awolowo created the educational system to be one of the best, where we have brilliant people, they could read and write, they are innovative, they could invent. But when it comes to the conceptualization of the Yoruba worldview and making sure that the Yoruba civilization is the fundamentals that is going to guide our region to become the best in Africa, the best brains that can do this are either abroad or dead. So we are in trouble. Let me tell you something. TYF on several occasions, I've done a list of the number of Yoruba leaders that were assassinated during June 12. Those leaders, before you create a leadership, one leader is equivalent to 10 million people. Let me tell you this truth. One leader, because leadership is an institution. A leader is an institution. That is why you are going to understand that Igbos and Hausa Fulanis understand these fundamentals. Yoruba people might be brilliant when it comes to book knowledge. When it comes to survival, we are poor because the worst of us are the ones currently residing in that land. I'm telling you the truth, we're in trouble. Because during that June 12th, that is why I said one leader, one institution is as important as 3, 4, 5 million people. In the laws of power, they say, strike the shepherd and the sheep be scattered. Strike the shepherd and the sheep be scattered. That was why you look at the surgical way, the clinical, brutal, bloody way, while Igbo soldiers in one single swoop and one single night exterminated the political leadership in the Core North, in the Middle Belt, in the Southwest, and left their entire political class intact. And they call it revolution. Immediately they finished that, somebody was waiting, took over Nigeria, and started implementing Azikwe's political philosophy and vision for Nigeria. Ever since that day, we've been in trouble. Ever since that day, we've been under lock and key in Nigeria, because they have a vision of what Nigeria is. And that vision is not for the betterment of everybody. It is for their own. That vision is intertwined with their own survival. You cannot have a Nigeria that practices ethno-linguistic federalism, where Igbos will be constrained to Igbo land, where Hausa Fulanis will be constrained to Hausa Fulani land, and the Yorubas will be constrained to Yoruba land, even though we can all move around there and there, but we know these are ethnic nations within a multi-ethnic country. That was what we negotiated at independence. But the Igbos, they do not have the land that they can use to build their own civilization. So they do not even have a civilization for a start. So they need to create a melting pot. That is why you see them always quoting America. They are not quoting America. They are always making examples of Rwanda. Rwanda is a good example of their agenda, where a landless minority ethnicity was able to invade that place, conquer the Hutus, and they created like a Hutu-Tutsi fusion, and they call it Rwanda. You know, they have a universal language, and they say all of us are living in peace. But we know the resources, the powers, the military, the politics, the policing, everything in that country is controlled by the Tutsis. And they're going to say, oh, Rwanda is so clean, Rwanda, but Yoruba identity, Yoruba land, there are things that are far more better than the price of bread to you. That is why an average Yoruba man has been so bastardized. You see those youths, they're going to say you, what is the benefit of my Yoruba identity? That is the product of social engineering. Your heritage is far more important than the price of bread and beans. Your heritage is far more important than the price of pop-off or than the price of fuel. Your heritage, that your identity, if you lose it, tears that can fill up the ocean will not be able to give it back to you. Tears that can fill up the seas will not be able to give it back to you. So land is the most important factor of production. And with land comes identity, comes society. That is where you can build. That is where you can cultivate. That is where you can mine. Everything you need is in the land. Food, mineral resources, but everything you need to build a civilization is in the land. If you like, be as rich as Bill Gates. If you do not have the land, you are nobody. That was what the Jews realized. The Jews they were landless after they were expelled from their ancestral homeland from 1,500 years ago. When they were expelled, they had no land. They were in Germany, they were in America, they were in Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, they were in China, they were in India, they were everywhere. They were rich, they were in the intellectual lab, but they had no homeland to call their own. If you lose your homeland, you will not be able to defend yourself. You will not be able to organize yourself. Your homeland is not where you give up and negotiate with anybody. Your homeland is not where you are going to be nice with. There is nothing called let there be Omoluabi when we talk about. There's nothing Omoluabi when you are defending your land. Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, Every inch of Yoruba land was purchased by blood. Even though God gave us that land, Oduduwa gave us that land. Oromiyan paid the supreme sacrifice for that land. Countless Obas, warlords, generals of Yoruba ancestry paid supreme sacrifice for that land. But let me tell you something about land. The payment for land is blood. And the blood of our ancestors is in that land. It's in those lands. Their bones are buried in that soil. The bones of our ancestors are buried in that soil. The bones of our ancestors are buried in those lands. If you lose your land, you are never going to get it back. And let me tell you something. Like I said, land and politics, they go hand in hand, and war. I said every inch of Yoruba land was purchased by blood. That's the reality. Every inch. Or are you going to talk about Ogun State supposed to be part of Benin Republic? The Egba warriors fought brutal wars with Dahomey in order to keep that place intact. They paid a supreme sacrifice. Ibadan warriors went to fight at Oshogbo. That's why Oshogbo is part of Southwest today. If Ibadan people had lost that war in Oshogbo in 1840, Oshogbo would have been part. They would have been calling it North Central and would have been having useless arguments on social media till date. Are you going to tell me, if you're on Twitter, if you've not seen countless and thousands of Igbo accounts, people of Igbo origin mocking us about Ilorin, if we were a serious people, and the reason why they are doing this and there's no serious pushback is because 90% of Yoruba youths are historical and political illiterates. They don't even know state and capital. Many Yoruba youths don't even know that in Kogi, 1/3 of Kogi is Yoruba people. They don't know. They don't know that 80% of Kwara State is Yoruba people. Many of them went to Covenant University. They did NYSC in Oshogbo. They started working in Lagos. They went to embassy, traveled to America. They did not step anywhere. And many of them too, they started joining politics and started having opinions. What did they become? They became nuisance on social media space. They are so brilliant, 4 masters, 5 PhDs, there is zero understanding of what Nigeria is, the future of Nigeria, and how we came to be in Nigeria. So they do not even understand how life works. Many of them have a vision. They just feel it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if the entire coast of Yoruba land is taken away from us. It doesn't matter if an Igbo man is our governor in Lagos State, Ogun State, or senator, or you give them all these things. Let's just make sure Nigeria works for everybody. They do not understand that there is more to life than a morsel of bread. Many of them are Christians, but they do not understand the story of Esau. That Esau was hungry and he sold his birthright for Jacob. Even though later on Esau became so prosperous and rich, Esau could not take back what belongs to him. When he went to his father, he was crying, looking for opportunity, but it was too late. The descendant of Jacob still exists, while the descendant of Esau are no more. You can be placed in a land flowing with milk and honey, but if you don't do the needful, that land will be taken away from you, and another ethnicities will take it from you. That is life. And we live in a Nigeria where I can start telling you examples where ethnic displacement is taking place. Let me tell you something. The federal government of Nigeria is not coming to save you. The federal government of Nigeria, people will play the Nigeria card and say anybody can go anywhere. It is you ethnic nations that you are going to fight and sort out yourself. So because a lot of our youth are historical illiterates, political illiterates, they are westernized. Some of them are even Arabized. So Yoruba land is left defenseless. Who are the people pushing this Igbo expansionist agenda? It is the Igbo youth. Who are the people defending Ijaw land from Biafran expansionism? It's Ijaw youth. Who are the people fighting with the Shekiris in Wari? Is the Robo youth. Who are the guys doing the dirty work and protecting Benin monarchy? It is the Benin youth. Who are the people promoting and protecting northern hegemony in Nigeria? It is the Arewa youth. It is the youth that have the strength, have the capacity, that have the power in order to protect the land. But what has happened to Yoruba youth? The Yoruba youth do not have the mental capacity, the mental ammunition to fight the battle of Nigeria. That is why you see many of us every two hours, three hours, we keep on lecturing. We keep on lecturing and pumping, through our veins. We keep on pumping out all these things so that we can understand what needs to be done and why we need. Because let me tell you something. Many of you can witness it. I want to say something to you. I knew of a Yoruba elder. He's a member of Afenifere who fled out of Nigeria in January 2023 because he thought Chinedu Vaibo was going to win in Lagos. Baba left. Baba ran away. And Baba was already making plans to ensure that maybe he's going to become a black British. Because Baba said maybe he was witnessing the end of the Yoruba race. What happened in 2023? Those of you that joined the obedient movement to wage war on Yoruba land, only God can forgive you all, no matter where you are. Only God. Because you brought war to your doorstep. There's no ignorance in war. There is no naivety that you are being used. There is no ignorance to understand. Look at Benin youths. Benin youths, they contributed millions of naira. They were at the forefront of every Yoruba slaw and Yoruba hate. They were being used ruthlessly. They were the ones provided the intellectual ammunitions for the obedient movement. Because I don't think the Biafrans have that level of brain power to organize. It's a bitter truth. But when it got to the Benin election, Edo election, all the Benin youth changed and told the Igbos, stay away from our politics. There was even a candidate that had an Igbo first lady, and they ensured, you're not going to represent us. We know what you guys have. So they could compartmentalize. They could choose their own battle. These people are not even up to 1 million people. They could choose, unlike Yoruba youths, who do not have the capacity, the logical power. I am weeping, I am crying, because some of us thought the damage was not deep. The damage is deeper than we think. The Yoruba youths do not have the capacity, the mental capacity to compartmentalize, like the Benin youth, who are fewer in number to them, to understand that federal politics is national cake. They can join Igbos to destroy the Yoruba people. That is normal. But when it comes to their own base, they are going to protect it with everything in their mind, in their life. Please make sure you are telling your youth, your children, your brothers and sisters, make sure you tell your children what happened in 2023 election. What happened in 2023 election? Document it and tell your children. Make sure you tell them. Make sure you pass this agony, this pain to them. You must tell them the humiliation you suffered, what they called us, how the Igbos were bragging that they are going to take over Lagos. Everything you must tell your children. You must never forget. You must never forget a day. Forget all this emotional trauma. You must pass this trauma to your children. The Biafrans, they pass this trauma to their own children. That is why they became the beasts we are seeing on social media, from their old to young. And let me tell you something. The life is not fair. Life is not for the weak. Everybody knows that what the Jews is doing to the Palestinians is wrong. Apartheid, destroying the indigenous people, wiping them out of their home. But nobody can do anything because you don't have power. You don't have power to make anything, and the world moves on. I said I was going to talk about examples of issues that is happening all over the world as regards to conflicts that are happening all over the world. I've still not come to the topic proper. So I'm still this a form of a prelude, because I don't believe in going into jargons, into historical jargons, and people are not going to understand what I'm trying to say. Because we have to use our pains, we need to use our trauma, we need to use our reality to talk about, to explain what we are currently facing. As I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking with pains in my heart. As I'm speaking with you, I'm speaking with so much emotions. I am speaking with a lot of pains, because what I see, what we should have done with pen and paper, I pray we don't do it with AK-47. What we should have done by doing, it doesn't matter. You can stay in Ekiti. It's still coming to you. What happened in Ilorin? Every single Yoruba man is being taunted and humiliated with it. They are not saying it is only Afonja that should be insulted. Every single one of us is being humiliated and insulted for it. So what happens in Lagos is your problem. What happens in Ikeja, it's your problem. And you need to open your eyes and understand that Nigeria is not a fair country. Nigeria is not a just country. It was built on the genocide of indigenous people. This country was built on bloodshed of indigenous people. Just like America, just like Canada. Canada was not a tea party, was not built on agape love. Some people brought guns and ammunition and started wiping out the original inhabitants. The Israel is talked about today. All of you read the Bible, but you have no simple understanding into daily life. You are spiritualizing, over spiritualizing the realities that are happening in those places instead of conceptualizing it. Let me tell you something. The difference between Yoruba Christians and Igbo Christians. One, the Yoruba Christians are spiritual Christians. They are thinking from the spiritual angle all the time. They look at things, Jerusalem, Lord, they are thinking about heaven. But the Igbos, because Christianity gave the Igbos the civilization they are currently using. There was nothing called the Igbo kingdom, Igbo civilization before 1914. It was the British colonialism that gave them that civilization. That is why Catholicism is infused to Igbo civilization. So it's infused into Igbo civilization. Go and look at all the great and most famous Igbo leaders, from Zik to Ojukwu to Peter Obi. They are all Catholics, because that is the fulcrum on which their civilization lies. And because of that, they are political Christians. Just the way we have political Islamists, they are political Christians. All those things, like God promised the children of Israel the land of the Canaanites, and they wiped people off and took over that land. King David, that all of you used to talk about, he wiped out, conquered Jerusalem, wiped out the indigenous people, and made that place the capital of Israel. This is what you guys read in the Bible. And because I'm still going to come to the Muslims, so that so many people should not say, oh, it's being pious, but we need to break it down little by little. You can understand. So the Igbos are political Christians. They are practicing Christianity from the realistic point of view. An Igbo man will not tell you they slap you on one face, turn the other cheek. He will never do that. That is why Igbos don't give a damn when they start cursing and insulting Pastor Adeboye or Kumuyi or anything, if those people do not do their biddings. But an average Yoruba man will say, oh, touch me that anointing, do my prophet no harm. They are going to think twice. Igbos don't give a damn, because they understand that these are tools of conquest, of expansionism, this is what they are real. They understand what needs to be done. And also the kind of politics the Yoruba people are practicing is not compatible with our survival in Nigeria. The Arewa people, the core north, especially the northwest, they are practicing two types of politics: hegemonic politics and survivalist politics. Hegemonic politics is they want to control the entire Nigeria, use the resources of the entire Nigeria to sustain their own unproductive space. That's the bitter truth. Even though they are sitting on $1 trillion worth of mineral resources and they have human population that they could use and turn that place into the Vietnam of Africa. That's the bitter truth about the North. So that is their own kind of politics. We saw what the Arewa Consultative Forum said. He said only a northerner can safeguard a northern interest within Nigeria. So therefore, in 2007, we are going to ensure a northern candidate takes over and kicks out Tinubu. Now, these are people. These are people that will still come to you in the name of Sultan of Sokoto and be telling you that tell you that we have to ensure that all Muslims are one. If all Muslims are one, why are Muslims looking for the destruction of their fellow Muslims in the person of Ahmed Bola Tinubu? That's why you're going to understand that when the chips are down, when the shit hit the fan, pardon my language, when things go haywire, your ethnicity will become first. Your ethnicity will become first. Your ethnicity. They didn't say only a Muslim will safeguard a Muslim interest. They don't care. It is a call. When they say a call, only a northern will become a. They are not talking about northern Christians. They are talking about a hardcore Fulani Muslim will only protect a northern interest within Nigeria. So they and the people just saw they've demarcated their space. You don't dare tell them. That is what they don't even care. How is that different from Emiloko? How is that different from we must continue to lord over you? How is that different from born to rule? That is Nigeria for you. It is only a Yoruba man that will say, oh, I don't want to offend. I don't want our Igbo visitors to be afraid, to not feel slighted. I don't want the Benin people to see me that I'm speaking about my ethnicity. Do you know the reason why a lot of Yoruba youth parents refuse to speak Yoruba to their children? So that their neighbors will not feel uncomfortable because they are speaking Yoruba to their parents. It is only Yoruba people that will be inconveniencing themselves for people who don't give two flying FK about them. It is only Yoruba people that do this. Now, people talk about, oh, liberalism, our people are liberal. Let me tell you something. There is no Yoruba liberal. There are two groups of Yorubas, Yoruba traitors and Yoruba patriots. Have you ever seen these people you call liberals who always laugh when Yoruba people are being rubbished, insulted, turn back and start fighting dirty with their fellow Yorubas on any issues? The same people that go mute, that turn the other cheek, that become so calm when Yoruba people are being slandered, when Yoruba leaders are being killed, when Yoruba land is being invaded, when if ordinary 20 naira fellow Yoruba want to hear, they will go to any extent. They will not even forgive you to kill their fellow Yorubas. This is what people you see call liberals. They are not liberals. They are treacherous. They are selfish. They are decadent, and they are wicked. I'm sorry to say this. Obasanjo only gets agitated and becomes very, very confrontational when he wants to destroy his fellow Yorubas. Did it against Awolowo. Did it against MKO. Did it against the Alliance for Democracy governors. And he's doing it against Tinubu. But if it is the Northerners, a core Northerner that is the president of Nigeria, you see them, trying to make excuses. And trying, to just move on and all the rest. But when it comes to their fellow Yorubas, you see them flying hard. Let me give you an instance of two people on social media. Look at Ife Salako. Ife Salako, no matter what you say, insulting Yoruba people, denigrating Yoruba Obas, this guy will always be laughing. But this nuisance had the audacity. His political career is dead in the name of Olodumare in Yoruba land. And anybody from him came out and started rubbishing and denigrating the only Nobel Prize winner in literature, in the Yoruba race, in West Africa, in Nigeria, the first Black academic Nobel Prize winner in the whole of the Black world. And he was doing it, insulting him. This guy sells Amala for a living, for God's sake. And why was he doing it? He was doing it because an Igbo ethno-supremacist fascist that refused to call out that cannibal terrorist called Samuel Ekpa lost an election. So that's how you're going to understand that the people you call liberal are just selfish, they are decadent, and they are treacherous. That is who they are. Because if they are really liberal as you think they are, because what people equate to liberal is to be calm, gentle, but how do they respond to their fellow Yorubas? How do they treat their fellow Yorubas? They are treacherous. Absolutely treacherous. So what drives them is individualism, selfishness, they accept themselves. Oh, I don't belong to a tribe. I don't belong to any ethnicity. I belong to the world. Who does that in this modern world? They see how many of them live abroad. They see what the Indians do by protecting themselves. They see what the Jews do protecting themselves. Many of them will go to Chinese village to go and eat Chinese restaurant. And we are very sure if you create a Yoruba village in London, a lot of these people you call Yoruba liberals, they will not go. They will say it is tribalism. They won't go. But if it is an Igbo village where they are selling fufu or anything, they will go there and say, my Igbo in-laws, aye want to bàjẹ́. Entire body ti bàjẹ́. They must not use their cancer and use it to spread to the rest of us. I'm sorry I'm speaking because we need to understand their psyche. Their psyche, they belong to that third part of Trinity. I told you there are three trinities of civilization. Yoruba land is a civilization state. There are two major civilization states in Nigeria. Civilization state is the most advanced form of cultural advancement. A civilization is the most advanced form of cultural advancement a group of people can ever reach. That's the definition of civilization. And not every ethnic nation have the capacity and ability to reach that level. The Yoruba civilization is a civilization state. It is a civilization state. So there are two civilization states in Nigeria. The Afro-Asiatic civilization state and the Yoruba civilization state. Because Yoruba is a civilization state. That is why it is spread across Africa, West Africa, the religion. It has its own religion. It has its own philosophy. It has its own identity. It has its own heritage. It has its own cosmology. It has its own epistemology. It has its own history. It has its own identity. It has its own heritage. It is a complete civilization. Intact. Only, it's not, look, it is not every nation, ethnic nation on earth that creates civilization. So the major civilization on Nigeria is the Afro-Asiatic Islamic civilization and the Yoruba civilization. Some of us call it the Oduduwa civilization. The other type of civilization is maybe the Christian civilization. And this is more endemic in the Middle Belt because they had to create the Christian civilization in order to act as a buffer against the Sokoto Caliphate during the period of colonialism. to have a different identity. The Christianity in the Middle Belt is a form of rebellion against Hausa Fulani domination. So it's a different Christianity from the Christianity of we are going to heaven that you have in the Southwest. That's why the Christianity in the Middle Belt or South is very militant, and compared to the Christianity you have in the Southwest. A lot of people are going to understand what I'm talking about. The Islam in the core north is a political type of Islam, because to be able to become emir, to rise within that society, you must be a Muslim. While the Islam in Yoruba land is a religious Islam, you don't need to be a Muslim in Yoruba land to become the governor. You don't need to be a Muslim in Yoruba land to become House of Assembly member. You don't need to be a Muslim in Yoruba land to be able to become, to buy land, to prosper, to become a billionaire. So what you need to have to be able to rise amongst the Yoruba people is your Yoruba identity. So it's a different ball game. That is why a Yoruba Muslim will not join you to carry bomb. Yoruba Muslim ò ní so bomb mọ́ra kó lọ mọ́ pariwo kó lọ mọ́ bomb ní àárín ọjà. Òun gan ló máa report yẹ pé ọlọ́pàá ace ẹ wá mú wèrè. That's what Yoruba Muslim will do. Yoruba Muslim will not do that, because it is a different ball game. The reality is a different ball game entirely. It's a different ball game entirely. Let's go back to the topic. Now, I've talked about politics. Please, before you leave this place tonight, know this. Google. I know you. I trust my Yoruba people. You guys are brilliant. An average Yoruba, I know your mind, you are one of the most brilliant race on earth. Exceptional people. No matter how tough the war is, I will never give up on my people. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why we are doing what we are doing. We will never give up on our people. Before you leave this place tonight, you must understand one fundamental thing. There is no difference between a war and politics. There is no difference between war and politics. There's no difference between politics and war. There's no difference. Look at the amount they spent for the last US election. The last US election, more than $50 billion was spent for that election. More than $50 billion was spent for that election. How much has all the Western countries, how much have they even given Ukraine for that war? They've given Ukraine for that war just 100 billion. So for an exercise that happened between just 1 month, $50 billion was spent. Because many of us, because we are Africans, we don't understand what politics is all about. The only two people that understood politics are the Igbos and the Hausa Fulanis. And I'm going to explain. Yoruba people, leave your IOCs. Nigeria. You don't know. Don't think you know. Mr. Commissioner listening to me. Mr. Senator listening to me. Local government chairman listening to me. By Bale Oba listening to me. Pastor, Imam listening to me. You don't know anything about politics as a Yoruba person. And I'm going to explain. One, everybody practices politics from their own geopolitical, historical, cultural point of view in Nigeria. When the core north is talking about politics, you see them talking about Sharia law, Islam, 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 Islam. You see El Rufai, go and look at their tweets, WhatsApping. Before they, out of 4 tweets in a day, they will talk about Islam there, because that is their own political currency. It's a different ball game. Now, the advantage the core north has, when they say the core north is the most politically sagacious, they have 2 advantage. They have the numbers and they are practicing Sunni Islam. Sunni Islam gives them the leverage to understand politics properly, because there is a political side of Islam that is part of Sunni Islam, and they run an Afro-Asiatic civilization. They just transfer technology. So by the time they came into Nigeria and the amalgamation happened, and Lord Lugard made sure those institutions were in place, they just transferred that knowledge straight up into Nigeria. So politically, you cannot mess up with them. You can do it for 4 years. After that 4 years or 8 years, they will deal with you. Because they understand politics, and they are the number. They are ruthless. And they understand war. So war and politics is the same. So Mao Zedong said, that's when you see this English-speaking naive Yoruba people, but politics is not war. Let me go and vote for who I like. You are going to vote into slavery. Once your war, you will vote your future away, because you don't understand that if you vote for the wrong people, your life might be in danger. Because it is politics is winner takes all. It is that is the person that is your custodian of your culture and tradition. Now, let me go further. To the Igbos. The Igbos have two, there's a reason why Igbos understand politics more. Largely, they are Catholics, and because of the Zikist ideology that Zik brought from America. There's a difference between Zik and Awolowo. Zik went to school in America, while Awolowo went to school in the UK. So Awolowo went to the UK. He saw the Irish, he saw the Scots, he saw the Welsh, he saw the English within the United Kingdom. He saw Europe. He learned about the different European nations. But in the name of Zik, Zik only saw black, white. And he saw it and said, oh, Nigeria should not be any ethnicity. How the whites were able to destroy all the slaves by matching and melting all the ethnicities together. He should come and replicate the same thing in Nigeria. And he understood that in the context and balance of American politics, it is like a Roman Empire. It is like war. So he just came in, instituted that ideology, and that's the ideologies people are running with now. So that's why you see one of the things they were saying during the Obidia movement. Oh, if you don't vote for Peter Obi, you are after my life. Oh, my life depends on it. They are not mad. They are not crazy. They are approaching that politics as what it is. It is war. Àwọn kan náà kó bá ẹ̀yin wípé káyìn máa wo politics from the position of weakness. Politics is war without bloodshed. Anybody, look, Mao Zedong said it. Politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. Let me tell you how politics came to be. Europe is the most bloody continent on the surface of the earth. Europe is the most bloody continent on the surface of the earth. And maybe the Middle East. The ground. That's why if you go to Europe and the Middle East, it is very difficult for you to see any wildlife. To people in Europe, everything has been. That's why they now appreciate conservative wildlife or human rights, animal rights. It is to amend all the evil they did, the destruction they've done 300, 400, 500 years ago. What saved Europe was that Europe discovered America. That was what saved Europe from itself. That's why I want to tell you the truth. You see, the way Igbo land is today was how Europe was 300, 400 years ago. So a lot of their people ran out. They went into the new world. That's why you see them making crazy statements. Especially people from the Southeast. Let us destroy state of origin and let us replace the state of residence. And they are going to be making this genocidal ideology with so much arrogance. That's why I've said it is better the federal government of Nigeria gives them Biafra. They are Igbo Biafra, because before they start another second civil war, because a time is coming that many of these are political and traditional political elites, Abbas, that are not paying attention now, we will now see the full danger of the people they have accepted into their land. Because what they are requesting for is a revolution. That was what Hiroshi did. They aborted that total de-ethnization of Nigeria. There's nothing called detribalization. Anybody telling you about detribalization is a genocidal statement. And people who make it are in two categories again. They are either ignorance or they are willingly mischievous and diabolical. And they are diabolical. How do you try to make political documents, trying to make constitutions, because Europeans created a country in Berlin in 1984, and you are not going to make laws to create patriotism? What does it mean? And you now say, because before I can prove my loyalty to Nigeria, I must stop being a Yoruba man. Let me tell you the reason why they don't, the core north and the southeast don't attack religion. The core north, if you take Hausa identity from the core north, they have no problem. You take Fulani identity from the core north, they have no problem. You cannot take Islam from them. They will kill you. So they can use what Hausa and Fulani identity will give them. Islam can also give them. Our option. Shall I understand? For the Igbos have evolved. They've been able to fuse Igbo nationalism with Christianity. So many of them now are how am I going to put it? Pentecostal Christians instead of Catholicism, which is very, very rigid. I'm coming. So if Igbos, if an average IPOB obedient comes to gaslight you, oh, let us forget about our ethnicity. Oh, let us, like that son of Chukwumerigi that goes everywhere saying rubbish, that poet. I say, oh, in Nigeria where I can go to Sokoto and become the governor of Sokoto, you are a thief. If you are listening to me, you are a thief. Oh, Leni, Barao, Shegen Bansa, you are a thief. Why should an Igbo man be making speeches that you want to go and become governor of Sokoto? What's your business with Sokoto? Why are you not contented with Anambra? Why are you not contented with Ebonyi? Is that the Nigeria of our dreams? Is that the Nigeria we negotiated for? How is genocide and ethnocide patriotism? So they can adopt Christianity, like what this man did, Obi did. Obi adopted Christianity as a tool, and he got 6 million votes. Look at his campaign rally. He didn't even have major campaign rally. He just used Christianity in Nigeria, and it performed wonders.
Ejo, am I the only one to lose her?
You cannot use Christianity as a
Yeah,
tool
I can hear him as well.
You cannot use Christianity as a tool in Nigeria. You cannot. You cannot use, as a Yoruba man, you cannot use Islam as a tool in Nigeria to negotiate for power. The only identity that you can use is your own Yoruba identity. So tí Igbo bá wá bẹ àbí Fúlàní bá wá bẹ pé let us detribalize, ayé tí Yorùbá bàjẹ́ nìyẹn. A Yoruba man cannot detribalize for you in Nigeria. If a Yoruba man detribalize in Nigeria, we have become a minority. Because Yoruba people are close to 60 million people. So by the time you break Yoruba people into two, 25 million Christians, 30 million Christians, Muslims, you break it into 2, 3, you shall share maybe another 5 million. So Isheshe will become an identity. They are going to become minority of the minority. So Isheshe Yorubas will now be on the level of Igede. Sorry, I'm not insulting them, or Benin people. The Ijaw people and the Yoruba people and the Tiv people and the Yoruba Muslims will now be on the same level. While the Yoruba Christians and the Efikikibio people, we are now going to be on the same level. We are gone as a people. If we follow that path, that these other two regions are dangling in front of us. So when they bring this satanic, diabolical ideology of saying detribalize, we are proud tribalists in Yoruba land. What are we even talking about? Tribalism built Yoruba land. If you are tired of Yoruba tribalism, don't ever come to our land again and get out. Because we don't even understand what you mean by tribalism. The group, the political party that laid the foundation of prosperity and advancement in Yoruba land came from Yoruba nationalism. Egbe Omoloduwa, that was founded by Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Pa Alakija, may they rest in peace, was what laid the foundation of the creation of Action Group. It was from social-cultural and social-political organization, started from London, and that led to the creation of Action Group. So what you see as Yoruba land, especially you non-Yorubas that come into our space to come and enjoy the goodness of our land, yet you see nothing good in us. No, you not see nothing good in your life, since you continue to wish us evil. The foundation of Yoruba land, the prosperity was built on Yoruba on Yoruba nationalism. I dare any Yoruba politician to come here and challenge me to say that Yoruba land was not built on what you call tribalism, because what you call tribalism is what they call nationalism in Europe. So it was Yoruba nationalism that created, that formed, that laid the foundation of this prosperity. Cocoa House was built by Yoruba tribalism. Premier Hotel was built by Yoruba tribalism. The farm settlement was built by Yoruba nationalism. Reason tí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń de sùtù kiri tẹ́ ẹ̀ fi di àlùmáńjìrì lónìí kẹ́ ẹ máa ṣa ilẹ̀ jẹ, Yoruba tribalism ló build there. The leader of Awolowo is the father and the patriarch of modern Yoruba nation. Awolowo was the leader and founder of modern Yoruba nation. I will repeat it. Awolowo was the first person since the days of Oduduwa and Oromiyan to unite all the entire Ile-Ife descendants into a powerful political bloc, from Benin to Ishekiri to Ofa to Ogbomoso to Oyo to Eko. Awolowo was the first person that ever did that in the whole Western region and united us. That was, you read his autobiography. He said before he vowed, before he comes back to Nigeria in 1950s, he is going to unite the Yoruba people into a powerful political bloc. And Baba did it. And that was what led the foundation of everything you guys enjoy today. All of you are speaking English. I'm not a tribalist, but the tribalist gave you that opportunity. And they threw him into prison because he refused to give up his identity. He refused to let Yoruba land be taken over by Zik and his people. Awolowo lost his first son, Oluwome wọ́n pa so that irú yẹn lè máa sọ òyìnbó. Gbogbo táwọn jí ìyà fún. Do you think it's a joke to be a Yoruba person? People died because of you to be called Yorubas. Orúkọ ẹ̀ ń jẹ́ Túndé lónìí, àwọn èèyàn kú nítorí ẹ̀. You have, I'm from Ekiti State. Go and ask what your forefathers did in Ekiti Parappa War. What your forefathers got through blood, you now want to give it up for sale on eBay because of the kind of the person you are sleeping with, because of the uncontrollable urge between your legs. You now want to give it up. What people died for. So, political power is extremely important. Because, let me now tell you something. Do you know that a lot of our youths don't understand the direct proportionality between political power and cultural preservation? Go and check the Nigerian Constitution. It is not the federal government, except in FCT. Thank God it is now in Abuja. That was one of the things Awolowo fought, and Akintola and Bode Thomas. May they all rest in peace. They fought with their life to ensure FCT Yoruba, because that was what Zik and his Igbo supremacists from the east were using to infiltrate Southwest. Because Awolowo saw how dangerous these people were from the First Republic. We are not going to mince words anymore. We are going to say it the way it is. We are going to say it the way it is. 2023 must not happen again. And if it happens, heaven will turn, heaven will come down. Down will come to heaven if they try it. I don't care if they declare Operation Capture Uyo or Calabar. I don't give a damn. They should go there. I don't care if they transfer 1 million voters and take it to Benin. No, they are allies now in 8 against Yorubaris. They can continue. But if they try that madness again, they are not more than us in the diaspora. They don't have propaganda power than us. I think they're already feeling it. Because we are not going to turn the other cheek. I'm going to let on the streets. Because we know what they are doing is narrative. It is war. Look, let me tell you something. The war of narrative is extremely important. The war, that's why they went and, oh, they killed somebody, they killed us in Lagos. They didn't allow us to vote. Show us one person they killed. They have no evidence. But they keep on repeating that propaganda. They are laying foundations. They are laying foundations. Because what they plan to do, that's why I don't even want to go there. When I see Yoruba Nation agitators, to lọ bá àwọn IPOB agitators, IPOB obedient, agency alliance, you are playing with fire. You are playing with fire. Because they want to push you to go and fight a war. So once you lose a war against Nigerian states, they will now negotiate. They will say they want to take Lagos. You've seen what they have been saying. Many of them have been saying, Lagos needs to be taken away from the Southwest. You ask them why. It was developed by the entire Nigeria. You ask a question. Lagos colony is different from Lagos State. Okay, take your Lagos colony and leave Lagos State. They start scrapping and peeing in their pants because it is only Yoruba people that they dare that kind of genocidal statement against. You can 30 years ago, you can't try this with the Yoruba people. But the decimation that under PDP, that's why I'm not a fan of that political party. That political party is not different from the MPN. It destroyed Yoruba land. They destroyed Yoruba land, especially during Obasanjo. We've not recovered to date. That's a story for another day. So war and power. Now, so you know what politics is war. And power is extremely important, brothers and sisters. Power is extremely important. There is something you need to study amongst the Igbos and the Hausa Fulanis. Both groups are obsessed with power. The way they caress power, the way they talk about power is they don't even joke about it. From their pastors to their imams, they understand the importance of power. We have misinterpreted the Omoluabi code. The Omoluabi code of the Yoruba people has been diluted. You are going to have 100 people in a place, and you are going to have just 10 Igbos. 10 Igbos, if you are looking for gateman, they will raise up their hand, they want to do it. If you are looking for treasurer, they will raise up their hand, they want to do it. If you are looking for cleaner, they raise up any power, even if there is nobody, they'll go and look for their village kinsman, bring him to or her to come and take up that place. They understand the importance of power. The Hausa Fulanis too understand that the reason why they are relevant in Nigeria is not because they are generating VAT, it's not because they are generating oil and gas, it is because of power. You see everything that is lacking in the Southeast today. They are not interested in all this rubbish Yoruba people will be doing. We are going to sit down, make policies, attract investors. No. They want power. They believe if they corner power, they are going to use that power to make sure they resurrect their economically dead region. They are right. I'm sorry to say this. That's why the Connaughts that has been in power rule this country in perpetuity. Just left power less than 2 years ago, are already scheming of taking over power in 2027. Because power is the currency of their relevance in Nigeria. Every madness they do, everything they do, the meaning of one Nigeria is northern power to them. It's northern power. Even when people were being killed in their thousands every day, they were clapping for say Baba Buhari every week. They don't care because they understand the importance of power. The only people who don't understand power are the Yoruba people. To them, ori àwọn Yoruba kan ti burú bí egun tó léwèrè. You want federalism, you want restructuring, you want this country to be properly organized. You have a Yoruba man as a president of Nigeria, a Yoruba man that you feel you can contact Afenifere. When I mean Afenifere, I'm not talking about Pa Adebanjo Afenifere. I'm saying this openly, lonely. I'm talking about Pa Fashoranti. May God bless them. Because the other Afenifere has been Igboized. I'm saying it. It has been Igboized. If Dele Farotimi is not working for the Yoruba people, he is working against Yoruba people. Let me tell you something about Dele Farotimi today. One of the problems we've been having in Yoruba land is like some of us follow the Omoluabi code and we don't want to say some things in public. We will say it in public and we dare him to come and challenge us on what I'm saying. Let him go to any court of law. Few executives of TYF are here. They can bear us witness. That man is evil. You see anybody in that carcass of Afenifere, they are evil. They've sold out Yoruba land for their pot of porridge. And I will tell you what they did today. So that they might understand the BT Bobo madness is in Bere. Àwọn ni wọ́n ṣílẹ̀kùn fáwọn people yìí tán fi ní ìgboyà páwọn lè overrun Nigeria, Yoruba land. 3 years ago, there was a meeting, like a conference, like a Twitter space. Dele Ogun was there. Barrister Dele Ogun was there. Dele Farotimi was there. And Dele Farotimi used to brag everywhere that he has written a constitution that if we follow that constitution, Nigeria will go back to the point of greatness. That's why you don't listen to what people say. Look at what they do too. It is not about listening to what people say. Look at what they do. So Dele Farotimi was talking about the constitution of Nigeria and how important that constitution is. And they've drafted a constitution that Nigerian government should adopt. Constitution olórí burúkú yẹn ló ń gbé káàkiri pé tí Peter Obi bá ti wọlé o, Peter Obi máa adopt. Some of the executives of TYF, they took it upon themselves. We took it out as part of them. What exactly is in this constitution? Can we go and read this constitution and juxtapose it with the 1963 constitution, the 1979 constitution, the 1999 constitution, and the 1999 as amended constitution? The 1999 constitution and the 1999 as amended constitution is different. They are different. But the 1999 constitution and the 1979 constitution is the same. In Obasanjo gbé tó create in 1979, you know, 1976, 1999. That's why that man should not be allowed anything Yoruba. No, that anyway. There's nothing of note. Not sort of from in Southwest now. Somebody that has dedicated his life in the destruction of the Yoruba people since he has been in Nigeria. So we know who he is, and we are going to say it here. We are going to say it here because I might tete sorrow. No jẹ́ káwọn youth wa lọ máa gbé àwọn ìka kọ́mọ rí wọn bí role model. If Dele Farotimi is your role model, you are playing with, you are seeing somebody that is advocating for your destruction as your role model. So what did Dele Farotimi write? So we read the constitution line by line. The secretary of the TYF, gangan, àwọn ni wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn. So there was a part, you won't even see it. What we first saw was that Dele Farotimi ló sọ pé òun kọ constitution. Àwa rí pé we saw Igbo names as part of those who drafted that constitution. If people can still go on his website, go and check Dele Farotimi's website and quickly go and download that constitution. Go to delete it because that man is satanic and highly diabolical. In that constitution, Dele Farotimi wrote it. Anybody born in Yoruba land is automatically becomes an indigenous people of Yoruba land. I'm going to ask TYF team, we need that audio. And when we brought out that section, we asked him, so you mean all the Igbos that are already claiming Lagosian, that are already saying do or die, they must become Lagosian, Ogun, or Ekiti by all means. Automatically, they are Yoruba, they are part and parcel. They have equal rights with our own children in Yoruba land.